Hi everyone, and welcome to today's What's New in Monday CRM and Monday Campaigns webinar. My name is Omer, and I'm a training and certifications partner here at monday.com, and I'm a part of the Monday Academy team. Thank you all for joining. We're going to take 2 more minutes before we start as people are still joining. In the meantime, I'd love to know a little bit more about you guys and the industries we have here today. Please write your name, where you're from, and the industry you work in the chat box. While we're waiting, I'll also say that today's webinar will be broken down into 2 parts. The first half will be a demo of the new Monday CRM capabilities as well as Monday campaigns and new platform features. This part is pre-recorded to ensure everything runs smoothly and you get the most out of it, but worry not, I'm here during the entire webinar to answer your questions. The second half will be a live Q&A, during which we'll answer additional questions and demonstrate a few more cool options and features. You should be able to see my screen, but if you can't hear me or see the screen at any point, just let me know in the chat. Okay, it's time to get going, and great to see people from so many companies and places. So now that I know you better, just a little bit about me. I started my journey with monday.com over 5 years ago. I never thought I'd work in tech, and before I worked in education and was even intimidated by technology. Since joining Monday, I've improved my ability to identify pain points, and I enjoy improving processes and finding technological solutions, which I guess is something common to many of us here today, and we'll see how the new features and capabilities can make things even easier and faster. That's also why we have the Monday Academy. Our mission is to empower our customers with the knowledge and skills they need to make the most out of the platform through learning programs, certifications, and of course, sessions like this one. With all that in mind, here's what we'll cover today. Shortly, we'll jump straight into the newest Monday Campaigns capabilities. Alicia from the campaigns team will demo the updates, show how they work, and explain how you can use them to streamline your processes. Then we'll move to Bo from the CRM team to present all new features and capabilities in Monday CRM. And last but not least, Aliyah from the customer experience team will share what's new across the broader Monday platform, features that benefit not just CRM or campaigns users, but any team using Monday to manage their work. After that, we'll open things up for a live Q&A where you can ask us anything about the features presented here today. And finally, we'll wrap up with key takeaways and resources to help you start using the new capabilities right away. But first, just a few quick housekeeping notes. If we ask a question, feel free to respond in the chat. If you have any questions at any time during the session, just pop them into the Q&A box and not into the chat. We'll try to answer as many questions as possible today, but if we don't get to yours, you can always reach out to our support team 24/7. In case you're not sure how, we'll show how to do this towards the end of this session. And with that, I'm excited to hand things over to Alicia Cavalli, Monday Campaigns Go-to-Market Manager here at monday.com, who will walk us through the latest Monday Campaigns features and capabilities. Alicia, take it away.
Thank you, Omer. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. Thank you for joining. I'm here to talk to you about Monday campaigns. So let's look at the overall picture. What have we achieved in Q1? We have achieved so much, and what has been instrumental for us has been your feedback. What's important? What features do you need the most? What should we prioritize as a company? And this has really helped to shape the Q1 roadmap, but also the roadmap for the rest of the year. I'm excited now to show you actually all this in action. So let's look at what we've launched. First of all, brand and assets, okay? So this is super important because we want to make sure that whenever you're sending an email campaign, everything that you create is on brand. So what we've created is here on the left, brand and assets. How it works is that you click extract assets and you put the URL, and then you just click on extract brand assets. And what this does, it automatically pulls the logo, the data, the colors, everything that you need for your campaign. I'd set this up already just to show you, but this is something that happens in 10 seconds. If there's colors or assets that are missing that you want, you can always add them here, like uploading assets, or for example, for the colors, adding the color here with its number, making sure that you're creating everything on brand. Second, I want to talk about creating campaigns. So we've had a big effort in making sure that we can create campaigns with AI prompts. So I've prepared one for today, and the prompt I'm working on is to create an email to inform customers about Monday campaigns. And what's it going to do is going to take the data from our brand and assets, pull the logos, the colors, and create something that we need. If we're not happy with the creation, once it's done, you'll be able to click here, edit template. What does this do? You can go and change the template itself. So it'll give you another option with the same prompt, the same colors, but a different version of the template. Or you can actually go back and tweak everything yourself in the campaign. So for example, changing the image or changing the language. But this is super exciting because what it does, it also learns from what's working, and then it'll be able to propose to you templates of campaigns that have worked the best for you in the past. As you can see, we have created one version. If we're not happy with it, we can always edit here. Now, let's say I've sent this campaign, I've sent it to myself. This leads us directly to the next update that we have that is very exciting. So in the past, when we sent a Monday campaigns email, it wasn't connecting with email activities in CRM. And this has changed today. So let's say I sent the campaign here, okay? And then I go into my CRM contacts board. And it also the same for the leads board, actually. And what we will see is here, oh, as you can see, I've sent an email campaign to Alessia Cavalli, which is me. What's really exciting here is that you're also going to be able to see if the user opened it and if they didn't. And as a salesperson or as someone that needs to contact customers, it's good to get some context, right? To see what has the customer received, what have they opened, what have they been invited to by the company, and have that full picture. The next thing I want to show you that we launched this quarter is shared contacts. So until recently, if you had Monday campaigns and CRM, the two were not communicating, but this has now changed and this is super exciting. So if you have only Monday campaigns, this remains the view that you see, okay? Marketing contacts, and this is where you see your marketing contacts, and obviously you can add them and import them from here. The exciting part is if you also have CRM, the view is going to be a little different. So if you have CRM, how's it going to work is, let's go on Monday campaigns. And let's say I want to go and check my marketing contacts now. So in that case, I click on marketing contacts and it reverts me back to my CRM. And this is perfect because it's the point of the CRM suite, a single pane of glass where you're able to see sales and marketing and all the activities being done to target our customers in one place. Awesome. So now that I've showed you all the latest things of Q1, let's look forward. So there's something very exciting actually that we're going to launch in the next 2 weeks, and that is the integration with Sidekick and Vibe. Let me show you a bit more of what I'm talking about. So this is the integration with Vibe. What does it look like? What does it mean? It's basically being able to pull data from Monday campaigns and create dashboards for you on, for example, like a calendar to see like what emails have been sent out when, or a report that shows you like which emails have worked the best at which time of the day, and just being able to visualize all the analysis that has been done. That's definitely very exciting. The second one that's very exciting is Monday Sidekick. What is that? This is basically your, it's helpful for you to improve your campaigns and to connect to better understand what's working and what's not. So you can ask Sidekick, which one was the best campaign that I used? What were the metrics? Which segments? You can have a conversation and get insights from it. But then the next step that's super exciting is actually being able to tweak the campaign itself from Sidekick. So in this case, as you can see, you could actually tell it, change the car to yellow, and it would just change the color. So this is coming very soon, and it's super exciting as it's making it even easier to be able to use Monday campaigns today. Now let's look forward. What are we talking about for Q2 and H2? What are the exciting things that are coming soon? I'm not going to go through them because there's just so much, but I want to flag a few of the most exciting ones. The first one, landing pages. We've heard that a lot from you, how important this is, and therefore we're investing in and we'll be able to have them by the end of Q2. Second, mailing list. So we received a lot the request that when a customer unsubscribes, we want to give them options so that they don't unsubscribe for all. Do they unsubscribe to the weekly email? Do they want to unsubscribe to the monthly one? Which one is it that they want to unsubscribe and which one do they want to keep? This way, you'll be able to stay in contact with your customers. Smart send timing. This is really exciting because it's really going to make all our campaigns more efficient. What does that mean? It means that you'll be able to set the campaigns up to be sent at local time. So if you set that the emails are being sent at 9 a.m. local time, wherever you are in the world, you'll be receiving the email at different times based on when it's 9 a.m. for two. This is super exciting. The next integration we're investing in is the integration with work management. So a lot of our customers plan all their marketing activities on work management and then use campaigns to execute. We're connecting the two to make sure that the insights, the analysis, and everything is happening smoothing and create that seamless experience for our customers. We're also investing a lot more into analysis and the information that we'll be able to get from your customers. Are they opening the emails? Are they receiving the emails? And a lot more details around that. Looking at H2, actually, there's a lot of things that we've heard a lot that are coming. First of all, multi-channel. So you'll be able to have also SMS, WhatsApp, virtual events integrated in your campaign's activities. And also ads. We're integrating with ads. And this is something that will definitely help your brand improve its visibility. So as you can see, there's a lot of things on this board. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. And we'll be more than happy to support you. Back to you, Omer.
Thank you so much, Alicia, for the Monday campaigns part of this webinar. Now I'm going to share my screen again, and I am actually going to pass it to Bo from the Monday CRM team. Bo will present the Monday CRM Q1's feature highlights. And so, Bo, the stage is yours. We'll now move to the Monday CRM new features and capabilities.
Thanks, Omer. Hi, everyone. While I share my screen, just wanted to do a quick introduction. My name is Bo. I am based in the Denver office, and I've been at Monday for about 4 years now, and I am a senior CRM go-to-market manager. Okay, so for all things CRM in Q1 2026, I actually want to take a step back and talk a little bit about what we're focusing on this year for the full roadmap. So our first pillar that we're focusing on is AI executes real work. And what this means is we want to build capabilities and features to take manual work off of your plate so more time is actually spent selling and closing deals. So we'll take a look at AI agents and a bit of that today in the session. We're also going to be focusing on this year the flow between lead to deal to delivery. And so what we really want to do is make that connection seamless and really make it one connected space for all of your teams from first touch, from the campaigns product and all of those features that Alessia mentioned, all the way to delivery and executing on your closed won opportunities. And then finally, the last pillar that we're focusing on is foresight is built in. So AI is answering, predicting, and recommending across your deals, pipeline, and accounts. With that said, we're going to jump into just Q1 features specifically. And the ones that I'll be focusing on today will include quotes and invoices, deal insights, what's new with AI and CRM, and then finally, we're going to touch on some quick wins and tips that were launched this quarter. Okay, well, let's jump into the platform here. So the first one that I wanted to focus on is we have revamped our quotes and invoices experience. We have made it much more seamless and much more intuitive for you to work on off of. So right now I am on my deals board. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you how to initiate a new quote and invoice. So here, if I come to our Google deal, I'm going to go ahead and create a new quote. We're at that stage. And first thing I want to do, if I haven't done it before, I'm going to go ahead and create a new template. If you happen to already have one generated, you might need to edit it, but let's just say, first time I'm using this feature. Now, if I go to update my template, this is a brand new experience for you, and this is how you can set it up. First things first, I'm going to go ahead and pick all of my associations with the quotes and invoices. So we're going to associate it with the deal board. Naturally, this is where I initiated it from. I'm going to pick where my contacts live. In this case, we're going to go ahead and find my contacts board. Let's see where it is. I'm actually going to do a quick, make sure it's still in there. Okay, of course it is. All right, let's go ahead and create that template again. Okay, there it is. Perfect. And then I'm going to go ahead and pick my products and catalog board. Okay, let me just make sure that one is also loading. Okay, and you can see in my example that we're going to go with today, I am an audio company. I sell a bunch of different audio equipment in addition to installation services, right? And so I've preloaded some sample products and services into my catalog and board right here so that now when I come in to configure my quote, I can pick my contacts board. Amazing. And I can pick my products and services. Okay, so now what you're going to see is when you configure your product and services, it's going to ask you to map that information. And again, we're setting up the template. So whatever I map in these fields here are going to pull through every time I generate a new template from, new quote from this template. I can customize any of the settings up here, issue date, and most importantly, this is where I can start to configure some of those crucial settings. So naturally, these are going to be going to contacts. What do I want to include in the field too? I want to say name, email, and phone number. What about the from field? This is going to be coming from me or whoever is creating it at that time. And again, we'll introduce those similar fields. I'll go ahead and upload a logo here. I have one generated ahead of time. We can add a description. And if you spend the 5 minutes, you can just see how quickly this is right now to set up the template. And I can come in, adjust some of the sizes of these fields. And if you spend the 5 minutes now, that just means every time you generate a quote going forward, it's going to be even quicker. And let's say I want to make sure that my tax is always included of 2%, or maybe 5 is a little bit more realistic. Okay. And so in my quote specifically, you're going to notice that I've included the installation service because I know no matter whatever quote I'm generating, I always want to make sure that service is a part of it, right? So every time one of my reps come in and they want to generate a new quote, they don't even need to spend that time to add in the extra click. It's almost a default that's always going to be in there. And you can create as many quotes as you want. Depending on your use case, you might need to set up a few for bundling, whatever, again, works for your setup. But now I have my quote generated. I'm going to go ahead and click into it. And if you recall, I clicked it for Google Deals, and you can see, here's a quick prompt on just walking you through all of the steps, but let's actually just try it out ourselves. Because of those settings inside of the template, all of that pulled through. Here I have Steven's information. I'm logged in as Maria Peters. Here's my information, and I'm going to come in and quote him because we talked about getting microphones, mixers, a speaker. He's running an event, Steven, and adjust all of the quantities here. And if something looks off, I can always come in and make any adjustments. And on the fly, I can always add a discount. Let's say, Steven here is a friend, or, we have a long withstanding relationship that maybe I wanted to discount just the installation service. I could either do it on the line item, or I could just do it at the bulk total. Again, just depending on your use case. All right, I can always preview this quote, make sure it looks good. If not, we're going to go ahead and officially create the quote. And here it is. And it's also going to be attached on the item itself. So that now when I scroll over, I'm going to see that quote that I generated and download it for use. What's even better though is that without leaving the CRM, I can just come directly into our item. So here's that quote. but just go ahead and initiate an email directly from this flow, right? To save myself some even more time, I can actually try to pull in, where are my templates? I have one pre-configured. So your quote from, in my template's a little bit outdated, but we are now Kinetic Audios. And I can come in and attach directly from that column the quote that I generated and send that out to Steven. As easy as that, all from the platform. What's also new is if I wanted to update the information on my item at the time of creation for the quote, I can actually come in, let me just zoom out slightly, and build it out as a workflow. Now, this might be your first time inside of the workflow creator, but it's super simple, super easy. And what I can do here, and this is also new, is you're going to notice very similar setup to the automations where you have a trigger, and then of course you have an action that happens after. In this case, what you're going to notice inside of the workflow is we actually have a dedicated trigger for when a quote or invoice is created. And so now I'm saying, hey, when a quote or invoice is created on my deals board, what do I want to happen? I want to update my column value. And which one do I want to update? Let's say I want to update my deal value, and I want to specifically update it to that total amount. So now what we're building is a full flow of when I create my quote and invoice on my deals board, it's going to update the deal value. So let's test this out for our Apple event just super quickly. I'm going to go ahead and create my new quote. All right. I picked a slightly different one, but it's still configured. We're just going to go with it just to see the total here. Oh, I already have installation, but let's say we're ordering 100 microphones, kind of crazy. But the total, just keep an eye on this, 15,000. And when we create this, now when I go back to our deal value, we'll let that trigger run, and it's going to update it to 15,000 for this item here. There we go. Okay, the next thing that I also want to highlight is the Deal Insights widget. So we are using AI to pull information to give you insights immediately. So now you can stop guessing which deals are going to close, right? Which ones are potentially slipping away. And this is a good example of a deal at risk, right? So what are my negative signals and what are my positive signals? And this can be completely configured to whatever you want. So if I go into the settings of the widget itself, I can come in, and first thing I want to do is just make sure that I'm mapping the correct information. So for my board, the stage corresponds to the stage column. I mark something as 1 when it's under status 1 and something as lost when it's lost. The deal closing date is going to be mapped to our close date, and I can come in and pick and choose which negative signals are relevant for me. So for example, let's say all of these deals are just 1-to-1. Maybe it's not relevant if the deal is being flagged not enough contacts, because that's always going to happen in my use case, right? If it's always 1-to-1. And so I can go in, configure any of the settings. If there's no activity in the past 30 days, then we want to flag it, right? Or maybe some of these deals take a little bit longer for your use case, then you can always decrease it as needed. Okay. And then same logic applies to positive signals. You can come in and customize, again, any of this as it's relevant to you. And now you can get insights immediately. Because what this widget is doing, it's actually using AI to scan across your emails and activities timeline to flag, again, both those positive signals, like a meeting's been scheduled, or you have a lot of stakeholders involved, in addition to negative signals, right? Like there's no decision maker engaged, or maybe communication is falling off. So the great thing about this widget is that also you get a suggested action. So you can see there's been no rep activity in 5 days. Maybe we want to generate an email, and immediately all I have to do is click a button, and then I get an immediate email drafted for me where I can come in and refine it. Now, this is a great transition to some additional features that I wanted to highlight in this webinar, and it's AI in Monday CRM. Now, quick disclaimer about AI, of course, it's consumption-based credits. So some of the features that I'm showing you is going to be based on our AI credits system and consumption-based limits. So if you need to look into that, then reach out to the support team, or you can always read articles on the pricing within our knowledge base. But the first thing I want to highlight is our new AI email assistant. So as I'm creating this email, I can come in and actually ask AI to write an email for me from scratch, right? Like maybe it's a complete new email with a custom prompt. But in this case, I actually had the Deal Insights widget generate a suggested email. And now let's say I want to refine it. So here I can have it completely rephrase the email or ask to give it a certain tone or to shorten and expand. So let's say I wanted to make this email, right, to check in on Steven a little bit more formal. I can go ahead and ask AI to refine it. And now it's a little bit more in a formal tone, right? Again, I can come in and do that again. Maybe I'm like, okay, this is a little bit too formal. Maybe we'll shorten it so that it's short and sweet. But again, respectful, given that I'm talking to the CEO, and you can see that it's also done. Saves me so much time. You saw it in real time. All it took was a couple of clicks. And again, all I have to do is just come and refine. If I feel good about it, then I can go ahead and send that email directly to Steven. Talking about some new and enhanced features also that took place in Q1 2026, I'm going to go ahead and X out here. We have Sidekick. So what is Sidekick? Sidekick is your AI assistant, and now it fully understands all of the CRM context. So this also includes timeline activity happening within your emails and activities, right? So, and this also, before, I show you and demo Sidekick, it goes further to also include activity being logged within AI Note Taker that you might also have as a part of your CRM. So Sidekick lives in a couple of places. On one hand, it's board-based. So I can come in here and on my board, I can simply ask, what deals are at risk? And then let's go ahead, ask our assistant, and maybe you're a manager looking to get a quick picture, right? You didn't have it in a report, and then you can just run a quick Sidekick prompt. And here it goes. And we'll give it a second to think. And just think of all of the different use cases for Sidekick. Right now, we're starting off with the pretty simple low-hanging fruit, right? What deals are at risk? I could also use it at the board level for which one is the most likely to close next based off of activities logged, right? So none of the current deals are at risk. All of them have recent activities. Would you like to set a specific? And so you can see here, I do have some recent activity, but I can even prompt it. No, I want to see deals at risk. Include any that doesn't have activity from today, right? Because that is how I'm defining deals at risk. So it might take a few iterations, but it's for yours to communicate with and to get those insights immediately just by asking our assistant. Okay, and then we'll let this one run and see how it differs while I take a quick sip of water. All right, so now we have a completely different answer. I gave it a little bit more context by asking for which deals are at risk because we don't have any activity logged today, March 30th, and you can see pretty much almost all of them are. It did include a couple from closed one, but of course I can always go in and give it that additional instruction as well to exclude any that have been won. Now, I also want to introduce Sidekick on a platform and account level, right? So here, if I actually go underneath Monday AI to our Sidekick tool, then I can actually ask at a very high level anything I want to our assistant. So for example, who is my most influential contact to invite to my next executive dinner? And so I'll pause that here. Oop. Didn't mean to add that. And this is where I add context, right? And so context is going to be from my contacts board. Let's go ahead and send that and see what happens. And while we wait for our assistant to give some suggestions here, again, think through all of the use cases that might apply at this level, right? So create a new deal for me on our Kinetic Audio Deals board, right? And I might be on the field with my phone and I can talk to Sidekick to do this for me on the fly. I could also use this again in an AI note taker sense where I might ask, what is the best rep call that was done recently recorded by AI note taker? What was covered in that call, right? So instead of me having to spend that time to comb through all of those calls, I can just have Sidekick do it for me and save myself a bunch of time. So here we have Stephen Scott come through again. He is the CEO of Google. He is who I've been communicating and trying to sell microphones for a long time. And you can see that's what's been recommended back to me. All right. Now, earlier at the beginning of this, I did mention we have new CRM dedicated agents. And the one that I want to introduce to you all today is our CRM lead agent. Now, what our lead agent does is our agent will actually source leads for you based off of your ICP. And it only takes just a few minutes to set up. We're actually going to set one up together in real time here. So what we're going to do is, in my use case, right, it's going to navigate to the leads board because these are brand new leads that are being sourced. So I'm going to go ahead and click on AI agents. And you're going to go ahead and see AI lead agent. Okay, and then these are the settings. I'm actually going to turn the agent back on. Don't know. This is a shared account on my end, so someone might have turned it off for me. And we have our ICP. And what we do here is, this is a really important step when you're setting up your lead agent, is you want to define who is your ICP? Who are you trying to source with the agent? And it could be something that you do via a custom prompt, right? Maybe you want to put it in, or you can do it using being more intentional with those fields, just depends on your use case. So I went ahead and I'm just going to copy and paste one over so you don't have to watch me type all of this, but I am specifically looking in my Kinetic Audio's use case for communications managers, employee experience, really anyone that does any sort of events that they might need audio equipment, or maybe they need a professional studio set up in an office, right? And specifically, we're a company based in Denver, so that's where we want to look. We're going to go ahead and save that ICP. I'm going to go back to the settings, and here I'm going to pick which board we want it to funnel to. It's our leads board. Which group? I created a new group called Sourced by AI. What are we sourcing? We're sourcing people. And this is where I can come to pick and choose what sort of information I want to pull through. So the LinkedIn profile, the company name of these individuals, the title of these individuals, and the location. And you can see I'm just mapping one-to-one everything I want included. For the sourcing, how often do I want this to happen? I only want it to happen, maybe just 5 leads and every morning at 9 a.m. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and source these changes. And because 9 a.m. passed and you're not going to sit here and wait with me until the next time it launches, I did set some up ahead of time just to give you an idea of what these leads look like. And you can see that these were indeed sourced by our lead agent. And based off of that same exact ICP, you can see I did get a good amount of leads that came through that matched it, right? So here's the name of these individuals, their title, where they work, and if I scroll over, their relevant LinkedIn profiles and where they're located. So again, this is a great enhancement of AI doing the work for you. And in our case, we have AI agents sourcing leads where all I have to do now coming in is now I can review all of these new leads and start to contact them, enroll them into sequences, and hopefully get them interested in buying some microphones from us. Okay, so now I just want to end on a quick win and tip. So a very common use case that we've heard on the CRM team is that you would love to sync your Gmail contacts after the fact on into your CRM, right? So you're working with all these people in your Gmail and you want them to sync over. Well, now we do support that on demand, right? So one time and on demand, and you can do this as needed. So all you need to do is you'll actually click on your avatar, you'll come into import data, and you're gonna notice the option here that now you can import in your Gmail contacts to a new or existing board. When you click on that, you'll pick your account connection. and then you're going to go ahead and pick which board you want to sync your Gmail contacts to. In this case, I would pick my existing board of contacts. Maybe if you wanted to keep it separate, you can always create it as a new board, totally up to you. But I'm going to go ahead and sync it to my contacts board and map the email to the email column. And this is huge because this has been highly requested, and it's also, again, intended to sync your Gmail contacts and their associated emails and activities into your contacts board, or again, a new board that you create. Quick notes on this: it does process data over a specified time range. It does detect any duplicates, so if there are any that exist via the email address, then it's going to make sure not to recreate that person. But then it's going to create the board items with corresponding email activities. So in this case, I am using a fake email. This is Maria Peters, who is not a real individual. So there aren't too many real emails being corresponded, but Maria does correspond with myself, Bo, and you can see that reflected in here on as one of the imports that did come in because Bo didn't already exist, right? And so feel free to try this out. There's a full knowledge base article on this that you can read about, but this is a really great one that launched also in Q1 that was highly requested. Another quick win and tip that I want to highlight, super small, but we've gotten great feedback off of this. Sometimes it really is the little things in terms of just user experience that now you can actually come into the timeline, add emoji reactions, but in addition, you can condense your view. So for any users today where you might have a ton of things going on in your timeline, if you have it expanded, it can be quite a lot of scrolling to get through all of that information, but now you can actually condense it and see a quick summary as to everything going on. Again, sometimes it's the little things, but it does make a big difference. All right, just to recap what we went over and what's new in Q1 2026 from the CRM team, we talked about our new quotes and invoices editor that includes both for template creation and also just for ad hoc quotes and invoices. We talked about Deal Insights widget and how you can get insights immediately with AI on your opportunities. And of course, we highlighted all of the new AI capabilities in Monday CRM, from the email assistant to Sidekick to our new lead agent. So I hope you found this exciting. I hope at least one of the features resonates with your use case, but I will send it back over to you, Omar, to wrap things up.
Thank you so much, Bo. Definitely a lot of new features, a lot of new capabilities when it comes to Monday CRM, and also quite a lot of AI involved. So before we move to Aaliyah and to the new platform capabilities, I actually wanted to share with you the fact that this is the new Monday campaign CRM new features webinar, but we have designated webinars for AI. So if you want to learn more about Sidekick and agents that Bo mentioned, and also Alicia, you can definitely go to our Monday Academy website. I'm going to share the link in the chat as well, and you can find full episodes and webinars on each one of these products specifically, so you can learn much more about them. So that's just in terms of all our AI offerings, features, and products. So again, thank you, Bo. Great to learn about all the Monday CRM features and capabilities. And it's now time to expand beyond CRM and campaigns and look at the newest enhancements across the entire Monday platform. For that, I'm excited to hand things over to Aaliyah Cobham from the customer experience team. Aaliyah, the stage is yours.
Thanks, Omer, and welcome everyone. My name is Aaliyah, and I'm a customer experience advocate here at monday.com. Today, I'm really excited to walk you through our latest features. We have a mix of updates here, some that will help with your day-to-day, but some that will help you build and expand within the platform overall. So let's dive in. Now that we're in the platform, let's start with dashboards and visibility, specifically a couple of new widget capabilities. Here, I have a few different boards representing different teams, like my engineering team, marketing, and creative teams. And you'll notice they all have similar columns, like this priority, status, and start and end dates. But managing work across all of them can still get a little bit fragmented. So one of the biggest updates here is the list view widget, which is now fully released, and I'm going to expand it so we can take a closer look. This widget lets you pull in multiple boards in a single unified list. So instead of jumping between boards, you can manage everything in one place. The key here is that it works across boards with shared columns, which means you can sort, you can filter, group by columns, or even update the items individually, all from one centralized view. So if you're managing work across teams or projects, this becomes a really powerful way to stay on top of everything without switching context. And now you can also export this view directly to Excel, which is great for reporting and updating stakeholders. Up next is a really nice upgrade to the calendar widget. Let's full screen this as well. So previously, you could only show events based on a single date, but now you can define a full time range using a start and an end date. So instead of seeing a 1 day snapshot, you can actually see events spanning across their full duration. And this is especially useful for things like multi-day projects, time blocked work, or resource planning. And on top of that, it's interactive. So you can create events by clicking and dragging directly on the calendar to define that time range and assign it to the right team. So overall, it gives you a much clearer and more realistic view of schedules and timelines. So that's how you can visualize and manage work across multiple boards in one place. But building on that, we've also made it easier to manage and maintain boards with similar setups across your account. So for example, here I have this product launch tracker set up across different regions, one for a US board and one for also a UK board. And both of these are actually instances of a managed template, which means if I make updates to the template, those changes can be pushed across either of these boards. So to learn about the next feature, let's take a look at it in the Manage Template Editor. So here we are in the template editor. If you're using managed templates, this one is a big win. We all know and love the option of filtering our boards and having different views based on our team needs. For example, maybe I want to update my product launch boards so that I can have separate views to see what each team is working on. So I'm going to add some filters so I can create my views. For example, for departments, I'm going to put creative and marketing together because they work closely together. I'll save that as a new view. Head back to my main table and add those separate board views. So one is going to be for my legal team here. Save that as well. And then last but not least, we'll add one for finance. Great. Now that we have our 3 board views, let's update the names so that they're easy identifiable. So I'll start here with finance and work my way back. So we'll rename this finance. Up next, let's call this legal. And of course, we have creative and marketing. So the latest update here is that when you add new board views to a managed template and you hit publish, that view automatically gets updated and added to all of its existing instances. So let's see what it looks like. We'll publish it on our end and then hop over to instances to see those changes in effect. Give it a little moment here. So instead of manually updating every board, you can push your changes at scale and keep your board views consistent across teams. So let's go take a look. I'm going to hop out of the template editor, out of the template setter. And now if we take a look at our product launch UK board, we'll see those board views. They're set up accurately, and it's easy to see the tasks for each team. And the same goes for the US. So that update helps ensure everyone is working from the same board structure. But as more boards and content are created across the account, we've also made it easier for admins to find and manage that content. So let's talk about some improvements to the content directory, which is located in the administration settings. So to go there, I'm going to click on my profile icon, select administration, and then head over to the content directory. So before, admins could really only just view content, but now you can take action directly from there. As a new update, I can quickly search and filter to find the boards that I'm looking for. So for example, I'm going to search for all of my boards. And then from here, I can do some cleanup. So I can archive and delete what I'm looking for using the three dot icon. For example, this duplicate here, I can just get rid of that. And this makes it much easier to manage your account, especially during team changes or when doing general cleanup. So that's how admins can keep things organized and maintain the account over time. But let's shift from managing work to actually accelerating it. So let's take a look at some of our exciting changes to AI. So now we're back in the workspace, and the first thing I want to highlight is how much easier it is to create boards now thanks to the addition of AI. So let's add a new board to our workspace. And let's say I didn't have my product launch boards and I was building them from scratch and I wanted to save some time with a solid starting point. Now, when you go to create a new board, you can tell AI about the board that you want to create in natural language, and Monday will generate a fully structured board for you within moments. That board will include a relevant name, the columns that you describe, a description if you would include that as well, and set it up brick by brick, and even sample items to help you get started so you have that solid starting point. Once your board has loaded, you can take a look and edit it as needed, also using AI. But let's give it a moment to load and see what it set up for us. You even notice that you have a status tracker here in the bottom right corner, and you'll get an update once your board is ready. So now we have our board, our product launch tracker, where we have a couple of tasks. We even have some sum items here. We have some comments, and we also have a status column. Something I want to highlight is that you can continue refining this board using Sidekick. You'll notice here this edit with Sidekick button here at the bottom right. And Sidekick, for context, is Monday's AI board assistant that helps you build, analyze, and take action on your boards using simple natural language, similar to how we just set up our board. So instead of manually setting things up on your own, you can just describe what you need, and Sidekick will help you get there faster. You can always access Sidekick from the top of your board or from the left pane under the Monday AI header. So let's head back in Sidekick and tell them what we need. So maybe you want to add a column to your board. For example, I'm going to tell Sidekick, add a drop-down column called Launch Channel. Option email, social, paid ads, and events. Populate it with values for each existing item. So I'm going to send that off to Sidekick, and now let's watch the magic. So of course, instead of building from scratch on your own, Sidekick will do the heavy lifting for you. Once you see the colors, that's how you know it's activated. A new drop-down column was added. Let's take a look at our board here. And here we have all of our tags and everything's populated. That's great. You can continue the conversation with Sidekick to help you visualize your data instantly. So I'm going to reopen Sidekick. And let's give Sidekick another prompt here. Maybe I want to understand how my work is being distributed. So I want to understand. So you can send a prompt to see insights about your board data, like how my work is being distributed according to task priority, and Sidekick will generate a chart or even suggest creating a board view. So let's see what that looks like. This really makes reporting much more accessible, especially if you're not sure which widget to use. It's getting everything ready, and then it'll show us that chart. You'll see it'll ask us if you want to see other breakdowns, but you can even in one step turn that into a full board view with charts, timelines, calendars, and more. So that gives me a quick way to understand what's happening across my work, but I can take it a step further and also use Sidekick to actually create content directly from my work. So for anyone creating content, Sidekick now uses an upgraded image generation model. So you can generate higher quality, more realistic images directly inside of Monday, which is especially useful for marketing or communication use cases. So let's, for example, create a social media graphic announcing our website redesign. Sidekick will generate a couple of options, and we could choose one that's the right fit, or we can reprompt it to see some other options. It's generating the image. It's looking through multiple AI models to find the best result. Then it'll choose images that make sense for our workflow. And here's our gallery. You can even download these to your device as well. So now I've shown you what you can do in your boards. Let's take it a step further and not just visualize it, but actually take action on it. So let's take a look at how Sidekick can help build workflows. So let's create a simple workflow. I'm going to add one to the workspace here. And let's create a workflow where we move our items to a completed group once they're marked as done. We'll call it auto move completed items. Create that. So within the workflow builder, you can now use Sidekick conversationally to create the steps in your workflows, modify them, or even summarize what's already there. So I'm going to click on Sidekick here at the top, similar to our board setup. And then I'm going to add my prompt. And then again, we'll give Sidekick time to create the workflow. And within seconds, we have a workflow, all the steps, and we didn't have to do it, and we saved so much time. But now let's say we want to modify this. Let's remove the notify owner step. Let's tell Sidekick to remove step 2. Sidekick will think about it. It'll start processing it, and then it's automatically removed. So use Sidekick within the workflow builder to create those steps. And instead of building everything manually, you can just describe what you want and iterate from there. So that's how Sidekick can help you build, enhance, and automate your work directly within your boards. But let's take that a step further and look at another AI-powered experience, Monday Vibe. So as I mentioned, another exciting update is within Monday Vibe. Now, as a tool, Monday Vibe allows you to build full applications on top of your work, connecting multiple boards, creating custom views, and taking action across your workflows, all without writing any code. It essentially brings everything together into one centralized experience where you can manage and interact with your work more dynamically and publish and share it externally. So, for example, Here, I've created a simple app that's connected to my engineering, marketing, and creative team boards that I shared previously. And this gives me a centralized view of tasks across all of those teams so I can track progress and stay aligned across departments in one place. So I'm going to edit this app to show you the newest feature. So let's hop into the editor. So now we're here in the editor, and you'll notice that it looks a little bit differently. And that's because I went ahead and talked to Vibe and told Vibe to make some updates. I wanted to switch from dark mode to light mode. And you can do that in editor similar to how you talk to Sidekick. So to highlight the newest feature, let's say, for example, I want to publish this and allow users to send updates directly from this app. So I'm going to paste my prompt here and give Vibe some time to think about it. In this case, I already have a stakeholder email tied to each task, so I just want to be able to send an email directly from the app. Now this ties into our newest update within Vibe, which is around integrations, specifically email. You can now connect email integrations like Gmail and Outlook directly within Vibe. Previously, you had to leave Vibe, set up integration separately, and then come back. But now, Vibe detects when an integration is needed and then guides you through connecting it, and then it continues automatically. You notice here, it guides you through it step by step, and it's connected to the boards. So if you click on here, we have our email composer added here. It's already connected, and then you'll just want to connect it to your email address. You notice here that it found an error, and that's just because it wasn't connected to the email. So we're going to say fix with this with AI, and then Vibe will prompt us to connect our email so we can make those updates. We'll give Vibe a moment to think, but this is great because Vibe detects when an integration is needed, and this makes it much easier to build end-to-end workflows like sending emails or notifications without interrupting your flow. You'll notice here that Vibe found that the email integration isn't configured with the credentials. So it'll add a message to users about this requirement and provide guidance on how to set it up. So we'll give it a moment to pull that up. It'll display the changes. So now if we go here, back into the composer, it'll give you a prompt to connect your Gmail or Outlook in the app integration settings first, and then you can send that off. Now, as you start using these AI capabilities across your account, we've also introduced new ways for admins to manage and monitor that usage back in the admin settings. So let's head over there. Now we're back in the admin settings. Let's finally look at how we're helping admins manage AI usage. So we've introduced a centralized AI control center, which is called AI governance. From here, admins can control who has access to AI, monitor credit usage, or even analyze usage by user or feature. So we'll start with the AI permissions tab because this is where you can enable or disable AI at the account level. And you can also control which AI tools are available by default. So for example, you can control which user roles have access to AI Sidekick, or even control which workspaces they can be used in. So you can roll out AI in a more controlled and governed way. From here, the credits tab, this gives you a clear overview of how many AI credits have been used within your current billing cycle, along with your total balance. On this page, you can also see how many days are left in your billing cycle and purchase additional credits directly if needed. You can drill down further into usage, like seeing a breakdown of credits used by a specific AI feature. You can even identify which users are consuming the most credits, or the columns and automations, and even which boards are driving the highest usage during that time period. Up next, in the usage limits tab, this helps you control how AI credits are used across your account. So under account limits, you can see how many credits are available. And from here, you can check the current usage, or you can buy more, both of which will take you back to the credits tab. Now, under user limit policies, you can set a default limit for all users and create additional policies for specific users, like power users who may need higher limits. Now, this is especially helpful if you want to allocate more credits to specific teams while keeping overall usage controlled. So say I can assign someone here, and then we can set a limit here. Let's say 90 credits for that user. And you'll get an alert at key thresholds, and there are no surprises there. So once the user exceeds their limit, there's controlled enforcement, so existing AI features continue running, but new usage is restricted. There's also an agent directory tab where admins can view and manage AI agents across the account. From here, you can see an overview of all agents, including their owners. You'll see their status, whether they're active or deleted. You'll also see which boards they have access to and how many credits they've used. The Vibe Apps tab, this helps you understand AI usage related to Vibe apps across your account. So you can see a list of all the Vibe apps in your account, whether they're drafts or they're live. You can also see which boards they're connected to and the owners. And you can use this to monitor adoption and also see an estimate about how much time your developers have saved, the number of active users per month, and how many apps are published to get a clearer picture of how your team is using these capabilities over time. Last but not least, the Note Taker tab refers to the AI note taker that automatically records, summarizes, and highlights key points from team meetings, so teams can stay aligned and focused on the conversation instead of taking notes. This tab shows your account's note taker usage, including how many monthly hours have been used, how many hours are allocated each month, and it's a helpful place to really understand how note taker activity contributes to overall AI usage in your account. So overall, the new AI governance section gives full visibility and control over how AI is being used across your organization. So that's a quick look at what's new. As you can see, we're always trying to make Monday more powerful, but also easier to use and manage, whether you're an admin or an individual contributor. And as for our AI topics, such as Monday Vibe or Monday Sidekick, those are just our newest capabilities, and we know we're always evolving quickly. So we will continue to roll out training, resources, and additional support to ensure that you make the most out of them. So definitely stay tuned there. Thank you so much for joining today, and I'll pass it back to you, Omer.
So thank you so much, Aliyah. It's exciting to see how these platform updates can enhance the way teams work across Monday. And now, without further ado, we are going to move to the Q&A part of the session so we can answer your questions. We're going to take a sip of water and then we're going to transition to the live Q&A. So thank you for attending this part of the webinar. We're now moving to the live Q&A.